think I'm live. Am I live? Yay! Hello. We've got our octopus. We've got our octopus dude back. Still haven't named it. Feel like I should come up with one, but hey. All right. Well, what's been happening the past week? I've been really busy. So, yeah, I didn't upload a video since the last live stream. It's just gotten a bit too crazy. I think partly with work, coming back. Oh yeah, I'm still in my bonsai shirt for today, because I was working that job, and we were, we make the bonsai, and then they go into a little space where they sort of like settle in, and then once they've settled, we took them out, and then I took out all the weeds because weeds are constant. So I weeded them and then made them nice and shiny and with like top pebbles, and then we priced them up and they went out for sale. And I'm actually like really surprised how much people are buying bonsai at the moment, because it's been a while since I've looked at certain areas of the place, because usually I'm just working in the studio. But yeah, no, I went out and like the pots have been selling like crazy, and then the bonsai we make have been selling like crazy. Yeah, it's cool. Like people are into it. So especially like the little baby ones. We've got to make more little small bonsai. They're very cute. But yeah, so that's what I was doing today. I didn't change into my pajamas because it's been heaps cold in Sydney today. Like I actually had to wear a jumper at work, which I haven't had to for the last little while. So yeah, I didn't change into my pajamas this time because I've got my summer pajamas, and it's too cold. So I'm still in my bonsai shirt, and I'm wearing jeans, which I'm starting to regret a little bit because I've got to wear a belt with them, and then when I'm feeling lazy and I'm sort of sitting, it's not as comfortable as pants that don't need a belt. But anyway, I will survive that. Yeah, so busy week. I'm trying to remember what I did during the week. So I don't know who's watching, but we can go through my Facebook, and I can try and remember from Facebook what I did. So since the last time, oh no, I clicked the wrong thing. Oh no. Maybe, hang on, let me see if I can get my streaming window on one side and my Facebook window on the other side, and then I'm a lot less likely to mess it up. Okay. All right, I think I'm good. So the past week, Thursday I would have been pretty useless just because I'm always a little bit useless on a Thursday. But like, oh my God, tomorrow with my other job, so much paperwork has come in, and I couldn't do some of it earlier in the week because there's problems to sort out. And so, yeah, it's all piled up for me for tomorrow. So once I finally wake myself up, I'll chuck on some heavy metal and try and concentrate on some finance. But yeah, anyway, so Thursday, I don't even remember. Okay, I found my update for Thursday. Let me get actually out of this. You're on Facebook, on desktop, they have grid view and list view, and like grid view is good for me to sort of get an overview, but then when you click it keeps taking all over the place. I don't know. So on Thursday, yeah, I spent ages getting through a whole bunch of invoices, and then just as I finished, I got twice as many come in, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I was busy on Friday, so that was just my weekend trying to concentrate on that. But yeah, no, it's good being able to work my own hours on that. But I think I've also been my concentration's not been great. So yeah, I procrastinated a bit, and then that's why my weekend got a little bit crazy. But no, the main thing, so hang on, Facebook is not helping, it's distracting me. So Thursday would have been kind of useless. Friday, my friend came over. Saturday, I think we went to Bunnings, and we bought a little umbrella for my, I have a table full of veggies and stuff, and like this whole section outside, it's really, really sunny, and because the weather's been hot in Sydney, I've put this shade umbrella up. So yeah, we went to Bunnings to get that. And now, like, I don't put it up first thing in the morning. I like the plants to get some morning sun. Maybe that's my bonsai sort of thing kicking in. Like, I know veggies are a bit different to bonsai, but I still feel like that. So, and I wake up late anyway. And then once I've watered them, then I put the umbrella up. And then in the afternoon, I take it down. And part of it's also because it's just like a market umbrella. It's not a permanent kind of structure, so you shouldn't leave it out in the wind or the wet. And I wouldn't leave it out on a shady day because, like, there's no point. So yeah, I'm being good, and I'm taking it down and putting it up, and taking it down and putting it up. And yeah, it's good, I think. Especially like we're coming up to a weekend of quite warm weather in Sydney, so I'll put that umbrella up and make sure my plants don't wilt. Sunday was my cleaning day. Monday, I don't remember what I did on Monday. Let me open up another tab and see if I can remember what I did on Monday. Oh, I swear. No, I think Monday maybe I was a bit lazier. I only posted once on Monday, so now I can't remember what I actually did. But my brother got this crazy gorilla statue for the garden. It's quite big. It's like maybe that big. Oh, sorry. Maybe that big, this gorilla statue in the garden now. And it freaked the dogs out, and it freaked my other brother out. My other brother's disabled, so he was like, what's this then? And yeah, we just have this random gorilla statue in the yard now. I'll try and get some video at some point of that, because it's just it's super random, but kind of amusing, and I guess that's our sense of humor. But like, where he even found it. So yeah, I don't remember what I did on Monday. It's all a bit of a I'm really like, I think with the way the world is at the moment and the way that life has sort of gotten all screwy, I just can't remember exactly what I've done day to day unless I like look on Facebook at the things I've posted. And that's become one of my motivations for posting things. I mean, I don't really care if people care about my life or not, but just so I remember what I'm doing. And like, they talk about if you catch the virus, right? They want to be able to contact trace where you've been and all this sort of stuff. Yes, we've got like little apps on our phones, and you sign in to the different places that you go. But if there's anything else that doesn't get picked up in that, at least I can look at my Facebook and remember what the hell I did different days. So yesterday, Tuesday, I remember because it was yesterday, I went into Chatswood with Mum, and we had this really fancy lunch. It is like this place where they have like tea and pancakes and so on, and sometimes they do like high tea, which I don't really understand, but they do it. And we had this huge like the 2 pancake thing with like bananas and strawberries and Nutella sauce and all this kind of stuff. And oh, I'm so glad we didn't order more stuff, like between the two of us, especially me with chocolate. When I have chocolate, I don't know why, but my body after a while is just like, you should not keep eating this. And then there's certain types of chocolate, like if I have too much, then I just like, my brain kind of spaces out, and I spend the rest of the day going, and I don't know what that is. It's just like, yeah. So I reached my limit with that Nutella. I didn't space out for the rest of the day, but yeah. Wow, it was just a little bit too much, but it was really nice. It was called Sugar and Spice. It was in Chatswood Chase, if anyone is interested in crazy pancakes and tea and so on. Yeah, so that was tasty. And then we looked at phones, because I need to get a new phone because I'm tired of this thing. It's been great, but as I've mentioned previously, the sound, charge port, because like I download stuff onto my computer a lot, and all that, and I think I just wore out the charge port, and I had to get it fixed last year at the start of lockdowns. It was really chaotic, and yeah, unfortunately, when they fixed it, they ruined my sound, and it's just, yeah, and the most annoying thing is the call quality. Sounds fine to me, but calling other people, I have to put my finger on this hole to stop an echo, and it's not 100%, but it makes it easier for the other person on the end, which means I have to spend my whole phone call like sort of holding my phone awkwardly, and my finger gets tired. There was one call I was on for like 8 minutes, and my finger was just starting to spaz out. So I don't know, I could probably put like a lump of blue tack or something there, but then when I want to record something, because I've still been recording plant videos, even though I'm like never going to get around to editing them and uploading it, but I have, and there's a microphone there and a microphone there, I guess, because it's stereo. And so if I block one up and not the other, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a mess. At least I have software now that makes it easy to sort of fix the audio. So the start of my tea turtle video, I sort of fixed up that. But yeah, I guess, like, I mean, no one has really raised issues about my sound when I'm filming with that. But maybe me as an audio person, like, I did a little bit of audio engineering at uni, and I'm sort of like, I can hear it, and it's horrible. It's a horrible experience for me, and me having to edit it, and then like, yeah, I don't know. I can't keep using that phone. And then there's other things like I guess because I've been thinking about getting a new phone, it's just like the sort of, then you start noticing all the things. There are things that are starting to feel slow, but also my power button, like sometimes, maybe it's the case, but it just, sometimes it doesn't feel like it's working properly. There's lots of little things. But we can talk about phone stuff in a moment. I'll just go through the rest of what my week was. But that was basically, those are the main things in my week. The other things on my Facebook that I was mentioning, so there was, yeah, all that, the way the invoices started piling up on me. So that's one of the things that's taken up my time, no time to make a video. Another thing that I've looked at, so I've got, well, I'm officially signed up to do 3 auditions. I've got 3 bands that I'm supposed to be auditioning for. The first one was meant to happen last Thursday, but it got cancelled and postponed, and I'm not sure when that's happening. I also chased up the other 2 bands because one got delayed by the Avalon outbreak, and the other one, they're looking for a drummer. And so I chased up everything, and 5 days ago, or Thursday, yeah, on Thursday it looked like they were all happening. So I posted. Do any of you guys watch? Oh, I feel so old, but there was the Amanda Show. I didn't really like it. It was on Nickelodeon, but I had friends who watched it, and they're like, "You have to watch this." And there's that superhero called the Procrastinator, and her thing is always like, "I'll save you eventually." And so I posted that GIF because yeah, I've confirmed that all my auditions are still happening, just not right now. Yeah, although I got a message today through Gumtree from one of them saying, like, you know, unfortunately my ad is no longer available, which I'm pretty sure is an automated message. But I don't think that sends out unless you take down your ad on purpose, and it usually prompts you saying, do you want to send a message to the people who messaged you to say that, you know, it's no longer available or whatever. And so they either clicked that box or didn't realize that it was a thing and it was there by accident. But either way, they still took down their ad on purpose, and that makes me feel a bit like, what's going on? So I've confirmed it on Thursday, but now this morning I saw it and I'm like, okay, I better message back. And so I messaged back asking, like, you know, is that just an automated message that's sort of gone out by accident, or are you actually not looking for a vocalist anymore? And I haven't got a reply yet, but hey, you know, it's going through, I think Gumtree uses email. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's the one that I was learning 3 cover songs for. So if that audition doesn't go ahead, it's not a big deal because I can just do them for YouTube. And I've found backing tracks for all of them. There are some that I might need to tweak, and there's one song that goes a little bit too low in my register to the point that, like, I can hit the note sometimes, the lowest note, but it's not reliable enough, so I tend to just go for the note before it and just hold that note a little bit longer rather than aim to go low. And yeah, and then there's another one with the ridiculously long guitar solo. I've got to figure out what to do about that. And then there's the other one that like doesn't even have a count in, so I'm gonna have to put a click track in my ear or something and figure that out. And some of that one, the backing track is a bit confusing, but hey, no, I'll figure things out when I have some time. I also finally finished watching Angel on Thursday night. And yeah, it took me 6 months to watch all 8 seasons of Angel, considering that I think Buffy 1 to 3 is like the first part of Angel, and then the 5 seasons of Angel. Yeah, 6 months. This is how bad I have become at watching stuff. So in the past I could binge. Now I just feel like I'm wasting time, you know, like if I'm watching, you know, like a TV series or whatever, that's less time to do music, it's less time to do YouTube. Yeah, so I just feel like I'm wasting my time. Speaking of like time wasting, I'm letting my tea go to waste. We've got a very, very faded, is that a leopard or a cheetah? Oh, I can't even see from there. And then there's a little crocodile. I might have got this from the zoo. What does it say? Made in China, printed in Australia. I'm too scared to look under it in case I pour it on myself. Give me a moment for a tea break. All right, so that's, yeah, I finally finished Angel Thursday night. I'm not going to start any more series for a bit. I think I started it because I was going through a bit of a thing. Cheetah, hello! I was wondering if my chat was working or not because everyone's very quiet and they're sort of just letting me ramble, and I'm like, well, I could ramble forever to myself. I mean, that's what vlogging is, right? Anyway, yeah, so, okay. So with the whole not watching stuff, so the 2 points that I wrote is like, with watching TV shows and playing games, the first problem is I feel like hello and welcome. Oh, you guys will have probably already seen this on my Facebook anyway, but I'll go through it because I guess people in the replay might be interested. I don't know. But yeah, so finishing Angel, and not starting a new series, and it's because of the wasting time. I feel like I could be using that time more productively. And like I don't have much going on in my life, and yet I always find myself super busy, and I don't know how I keep doing it. It's like I always come up with some kind of a project or who knows what, and I'm just constantly busy. But yeah, no, the second problem is the more absorbed I get, the more I pine for a world and a life I can't have. So like if I'm watching a TV series or playing a game and like their story's really good and it's like this really interesting world and people have magic and interesting things are constantly happening, and then I have to come back to my normal life. And my normal life is probably not as bad as it used to be, but it's sort of like, yeah, if I watch too much of that kind of fiction, I start thinking about what I want that I can't have, and it's not good. It's watch that when you don't have money. Oh yeah. When you have a go. Yeah. So I do think I started Angel. If it was 6 months ago, it would have been like maybe after Hope went into the the vet hospital, and so like I was struggling a bit with that, and winter, you can't go out much, and also with restrictions you can't go out much, and there was just so much going on. And I maybe that was around the Claritine incident. I don't even remember when all these things happened, but yeah, it was something for me to watch, to take my mind off stuff. But now that I'm fine and I've got myself into a bit of a pattern with life, I don't think I need the fiction at the moment. So yeah, 6 months to finish Angel, and now I think I can just chill for a bit until the next moment that I need a little bit of an escape. But otherwise, I'd rather be productive and rather not pine for that world that I can't have. Yeah, okay. And so what else did I post? I posted a picture of my dog on my bed, asleep. Yeah, and then my friend came over on Friday, and so she brought a costume for my brother's dog, the Labrador, to dress him up like a banana. I should try and get video of that too. There's so many things I should try and get video of, but like one of the things with the phone, because I know the quality is not great and it annoys me, I just don't feel like filming stuff. And I think that's one of the things about trying to get a new phone is like, I feel like it'd help me get back into YouTubing outside my room and not on this webcam, you know? So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, banana costume for my brother's Labrador. It's pretty funny. I made cold soba noodles by myself for the first time. Like I did ask Mom, what do I do? But I did it myself and it was fine. It tasted good. So now I know how to do that. That's an achievement. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's just like making sure you know how much of things to do because we use soy sauce maybe, and you have to dilute it a bit. And I wasn't sure how much to do that. So yeah, I made like a Japanese food and oh God, we talked for like 12 hours. And at one point we got my cello out. I'm considering selling my cello because it's just too difficult for me, you know. We got it from the string center in Sydney and they lowered the action for me, but I still can't press down the strings very easily. Like at the top is fine, but even just with my violin fingers, if I'm talking about like second and third, I need to use two fingers to push it down, and it's really difficult. And I think it's just too big for me because it's a full-size cello. And when I talk to a friend who does play cello like properly, she uses like ladies cello or 7/8 cello. And I realized that's probably the size that I needed to get. But I got that cello with my ex. And, you know, so there's also that side of it. Like, I like the idea of having a cello. I like being able to say I have a cello, but let's be real, I can't play it. I'm never going to be able to play it. It's connected to that kind of a memory. I should probably let it go. And like the thing is, so my friend, she wanted to play the cello just so she could say she has had a go at it. Because like they are kind of fun and they're loud and all that kind of stuff. But while I tuned it, it took forever to tune. And then I gave it to her to play. And while she was doing that, I got my viola out and ditched the cello. Yeah. So I've got how much did we buy it for? Because like I don't want to undersell. Like I've got to try and remember roughly how much we paid for it. But it was not a cheap cello. Like it's a proper one from the string center. So maybe I'll look at their website and try and figure out exactly which. Yeah, get rid of the useless cello. Get a cello you can play. No, I should spend the money on like the tech things I need, things I'll actually do. Because see, like when I gave my friend the cello, I got my viola out and I can still play. Like I haven't practiced in ages. Like even on my electric, my 5-string that I used to use for Rainbow Death Ray. Yeah, no, I got the cello out with the cello. I got the viola out. I think the viola is the nicest of those like violin type instruments I have. And like I can still play it. It sounds really nice. I got out my Suzuki violin books, Suzuki violin viola. It's like the learning technique. And I started playing it. Now there's some songs that, looking at the title, I couldn't remember how they went, but I could read the music still. Now, when I say read the music, I was reading in treble clef, but playing on a viola. It's just because it's like a fifth, I just playing a fifth down instead. But yeah, I can still read treble clef. I think alto clef I would struggle with because I didn't play viola as long as violin. But no, and I started playing the songs, and when I started reading it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And so I actually did all right. The parts that I stumbled on were the parts that I always used to stumble on. So it's funny how your brain can remember those physical kinds of things. Kinetic memory lasts longer than knowledge memory in some weird way. So yeah, and I also got out my little violin. I think my violin is a lady's violin, a 7/8 violin rather than full size. I'm pretty sure my viola is full size. And yeah, no, that violin still sounds fine too. I don't like it as much as the viola. A viola generally has a richer sound than violin anyway, but I think that violin was probably a bit on the cheaper side, but not so cheap that it's like crap, because I did buy a really cheap, like, $50 Chinese violin off eBay one time, and that was pretty bad. But on the upside, because it was so terrible, I had to force myself to learn things like how to deal with tuning pegs that aren't sticking properly, and how to set up a violin like as lazy as a layperson can do it. And yes, I played that, and I also got out my electric, my 5-string, and I played that, and I'm like, wow, I can still do violin, like, despite not practicing much. I mean, I'm probably never going to be great at it, but I was better than I thought I would be. Now, I'm not going to play violin in any kind of band anytime soon. I'm done with that whole Rainbow Death Ray vibe. But it's just nice to know that I can do it if I want to, and like, maybe if I want to play violin as a recorded thing in one of my songs, I could get away with it. We're doing a few takes because, my technique has never been great. Like, I wanted to play guitar when I was younger, and my school was like, no, you're not old enough. And they would have shoved me on an acoustic anyway. And I didn't know what electric was at the time to be able to express to anyone what I wanted. Because, like, I had a very conservative upbringing. I wasn't exposed to, like, metal music and all that kind of stuff at a young age, like a lot of my metal friends seem to have been. So, yeah, the violin was sort of like a compromise instrument. I had a friend at the time who played it, and so that's how I fell into that. Yeah, so like I could maybe use it for something, or hey, who knows? That's a problem for later me. It's just nice to know that I can do it. Quick tea break again. Give me a moment before it goes cold. All right. So then what else? Oh, that's the thing. So Saturday we went to the Bunnings, got the umbrella thing. And when I take down the umbrella, I actually take the top half off and the bottom half stays there. But because it's hollow, Mum was worried about the rain getting in there and mosquitoes getting in there and, whatever. So I used some Plastimake, the same Plastimake that I used to fix my vampire fangs. And I made like a little lid to go on top of it. And yeah, I think my parents were just looking at me making it, going like, what are you doing? Like, I'm solving our problem. Sure, it doesn't look great, but it does the job. And when you have a weird art girl as a kid, when you have a weird art kid, what do you expect? I suppose I could have like gotten the coloring bits out and put little crazy colorful things on it, but no, I just wanted to get the job done. So I'm not that far gone in terms of art stuff, but I am a little bit like, yeah, what's going on up there, eh? Oh yeah, and then there's the moment was that Sunday? Yeah, on Sunday, when I think is when I properly decided I want to get this fancy phone. So I was telling myself on Facebook, I don't need to get a $2,000 smartphone. This is 2,000 Aussie dollars. Don't panic if you're American. But it's the same as when I went on Facebook and was like, I don't need a $6,000 computer. And then like within a month, I'd ordered it. So yeah, I'm very close to ordering my bloody $2,000 smartphone. What is wrong with me? Well, seriously, like I could probably get by without it. But on the other hand, like, okay, so it's because of YouTube, I think, that I keep spending too much money. Because like with the computer, right? Went for overkill. Oh no. I went for overkill on my Alienware computer, which like, the video that it got like a lot of views at first, and then now that it's not as relevant, you only really get trolls coming by, but they've shut up for a bit, so that's nice. Sell us this phone, please. Oh my god. But like, so I got the fancy computer because I wanted to try different software. My old computer could handle HitFilm Express just if I constantly save after every single thing I do. There's no way my old computer would have handled DaVinci Resolve. So I got a computer that can handle DaVinci Resolve plus extra because I tend to keep my computers a long time. So, I mean, it'll probably be overkill for a while because I feel like tech kind of moves slower than it used to. Like when I was growing up, like every year it would just be things would double. Now things sort of go a bit slower. It just becomes more efficient. maybe. So yeah, but if things do go shoot off a little bit, I have that extra headroom, and also have that extra headroom so that the machine doesn't start killing itself, because while my old computer could handle HitFilm Express, it it would occasionally, like, the graphics card just turned off one day. I think maybe it overheated or rattled too much or whatever, and like it came back to life, but the wear and tear on the machine was starting to freak me out. So hopefully I won't get so much wear and tear on a machine that thinks all this stuff is a breeze it can do in its sleep. New yeah. Oh dear. Um, hang on. Maybe just buy a good camera for the video audio stuff. See, that's something I considered. What do you plan to use it for? And you can't. Yeah, no, I considered, like, I could just get a cheap phone, and then I could get like video gear and audio gear. Like, my audio gear is getting a bit old, so I'd probably need to get different stuff to make sure things sync, and like so I can go straight to my PC instead of having to go through my Mac. My 10-year-old, oh no, it's like 11 years old now. My 11 years old Mac. Oh no, it's 12 years old now. Holy moly. Yeah, wow. No, so I considered, like, I could just get cheap phone and then buy separate gear for making videos. Um, the thing is, like, then I have extra devices. I don't necessarily save a whole lot of money. It becomes clunkier to use. And then if I want to go outside and take all my video gear outside, then I have to take all that. Whereas if it's all in a phone and they make them quite compact, and they're actually, like, there's some good features in there. It's reaching puberty. What's reaching puberty? Oh my god. Yeah, no, with the phone, I think it's just a way to sort of package everything together and be a portable solution, especially because I'm not like a professional YouTuber or anything. I don't make money off that, so I don't need the extra fancy gear. I can make do with phone level gear. My old Mac. Oh my god. I get it now. Oh dear, oh dear. No, I just think a phone, hello! Yeah, oh, I was actually thinking, should I message you because you missed the last one? We've already passed the bit where it took me 6 months to finish watching Angel, though, and now we're talking about my consumerist habits and buying a phone. Let me just. Oh yeah, mum's misunderstanding. So I'll just finish the Facebook part, and then we can talk phones. Remember, just in time. Oh, we've only been going half an hour, and I'll probably go for another hour unless, like, I fade really fast. But yeah, no. Mum gave me her phone to look up something, but she didn't unlock it, and I don't remember her passcode. I don't know if she even. I'm sure she has one. I don't remember what it is. And so she's like, just use the thumbprint reader here and it unlocks. And I'm like, I don't have the same thumb as you, mother. Like, she's so funny sometimes. Anyway, but her phone is nice. She's got the S20 and mine's the S7 Edge. And like now, yeah. The more I think about it, the more I realize my old phone is just. Yeah. Anyway, so Sunday. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but I washed my hair for the first time in a month on Sunday, and I've started trying to fade out the ends a little bit more. But I don't know how well you can see it. It'll probably take me a while to really get the effect. Just because I don't like the grainy look, and so I thought if I try and intentionally wash it out a bit more, then it looks like it's on purpose. You can just add your thumb to your mom's phone. Yeah, I could. But do I really want her being able to just be like, you look it up all the time? Shouldn't I still have some mother involvement on her own phone? Anyway, or I can just turn it around to her face because it has that Face ID thing, and, mother, look at the phone, please. Or I don't know. I wonder if I got a photo of her and just showed it, would it open? Or is it smart enough to know the difference between lumpy face and flat screen? Anyway, yeah, no, so I don't know, in the next, yeah, I got to decide when I get my hair redone, and I'm sort of thinking, do I change, I'm not going to get the turquoise color again. I didn't like the sort of greeny look. That's one of the reasons I'm trying to wash it out a bit more. But I thought the fade would be kind of interesting. And so I'm sort of thinking like, I want to have more of see those dark blues and purples. I want to have more of that. I feel like light blue is a little bit too cheerful in a way. So I want to get more of that moody sort of color. I mean, it might only look like that because it's the next layer down and maybe it's not fading as fast. I don't know. But I think darker blues. And then I'm sort of like, well, do I make it all like that? Or do I transition into a lighter blue and then potentially transition into a white? And then, yeah. And then sort of go into like a sort of more white, like, you know how, because the idea is the ocean, right? This bit, yeah. More goth. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I could do black, but the problem with that is if you change your mind, it's a lot harder to get it out, to strip the color back out. So yeah, it's better if I try really hard this time not to put any black in my hair. But I'm thinking a sort of dark blue, purple, whatever. Go to the sort of lighter blue and then have the white on the ends, like, you know how like a wave has white. I mean, like, goth could be anything really. Like, who cares about rules, right? Yeah, no, I really like that shade. So I'm going to ask for more of that. Sun bleaching out the color. There's maybe a little bit of that, but there's also like every time you wash it, a certain amount comes out. But also this was a lighter blue on the outside to begin with, and it's only when you look on the next layers that you see that. The problem is I don't wear my hair like that, and I don't do the thing where you like, you know, put your part there. To me, my part has to be in the middle. I'm just not that kind of like side part person. So yeah, it does wash out over time. But if I can have more of that, fade it out, maybe see if we can go to white, but I don't know how easy that is because white isn't a dye. You use a toner so that it doesn't look yellowy once you bleach it. So I don't know how possible it will be, but maybe we do go to a lighter blue since that seemed to be what was happening anyway. Yeah, no, I'm going to avoid the black. And then up the back, this sort of reddish color. I think I might not have red, or if I do have a red, make it a very orangey red, and then just sort of stick to the, I'm not going to be able to show this on this camera. I don't know what you could see there. But yeah, more yellows and oranges and sort of also get it shorter so that I can tease it up. Like I just can't. I've mentioned that before, I'm sure. But so yeah, I washed my hair for the first time in a month on Sunday. If the less you wash it, the longer it stays, and it actually has stayed, especially the blue has stayed really nicely compared. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily have a diary of how my hair was before. I'd have to go through like so many Facebook posts to figure that out. But I do feel like it's stuck quite nicely. So that's good, but that's probably also because I've been disciplined. Monthly. Yeah. And it's nice, like, not washing your hair because then you don't have to dry it. And I hate having to dry hair. It takes so long. Anyway, so that's the hair post. And then there's the gorilla my brother got. And then, oh, yeah, we've been harvesting cucumbers and onions from my little garden and little wild strawberry things. The last of the carrots weren't so good, though, eaten by pests and all that. And then we come up to yesterday. So let me just have a little bit more tea and then we can get into this phone thing. Oh. It's starting to get cold, so I'll just try and drink it as fast as I can, but I'm not really a chugger. Especially, like, I've got so much hay fever at the moment. The weather's been crazy, and, like, the plants are going crazy, and that's just... And then you're wearing a mask a lot of the day when you're working, and my nose is just like, no, we don't like this. So then if I try and chug, I can't breathe anymore. And so that's, I think, why chug. Oh, I just don't think it's going to happen because I can't really, my nose goes funny and I can't breathe through it anymore. I'll stop talking. I'll just try and finish it. All right, horribly faded cup. Oh yeah, there's like some tigers and a panda and it's just really badly faded, but it's like the right size of cup. So when my other cups are in the wash, that's the one I use. All right, so let me just close that Facebook window there and bring this one back to here. And now I'm big again for me. Oh my God. Oh, I've got a panda. Can you see the panda there? Mum got me that. She might have got me that when she visited China a few years back. And it's got like a baby panda. Yeah, I think that's what, I don't know. Mum got it for me. Don't remember the circumstances. Yeah. All right. Phones. Oh my God. $2,000 phone. Okay. So last year when my phone had its issue, I did have that thought, do I go and repair it? Or do I just go and buy a new phone? And the repair cost $100. And it got me like an extra year of use, which is cool. But it's still kind of like, because the sound problem happened and I didn't really pick up on it until later, so I couldn't go back and say, hey, you guys messed up my sound. If I'd realized earlier, maybe I would have done that, and maybe they could have done something about it. I don't know. But I didn't notice because it was at the start of lockdown, and then we were in lockdown, and where am I going? Nowhere. And no one's calling me, and I wasn't even making many videos because like it was just chaos. I wasn't getting punk rave stuff. Blair? Anyway, so $100 got an extra year out of this. Now, if I had bought a phone at the time, though, I think that would have been tricky because it's the S20 series. Like, I'm a Samsung person. I consider, like, it's just if I had to research the other ones, it's tricky. And also with Otterbox, the case that I like, they only make the military Defender series. Defender Pro is the one I want to get. They only make it for, like, Apple and Samsung, and I'm not an Apple fan. Like, I understand some reasons that people use it, but for me personally, I'm not into it. So, yeah, I'm a Samsung person, not necessarily for the best of reasons, but it's convenient and I don't want to think about tech too much. Like, I can research tech if I have to. I just don't want to. So yeah, I mean, you can berate me for that if you like, but Samsung's what I'd be looking at. So last year, and flagships are what I'm drawn to as well. I have an S7 Edge. It's my first smartphone ever, the only smartphone I've ever owned. I've got something in my eye, and that's really annoying. Ah! Oh no, what's in my eye? That's horrible. Get out of my eye. Oh my God. Anyway, I'll try and talk through it. It's probably just like a bit of dust or something because I was working with a lot of dirt today. Where was I? Samsung, that's right. So last year was the S20 series, and the S20 itself, it was fine. We got that from Mum. I researched it beforehand, and yeah, it seems like a solid little phone. For me, the dilemma was like, if I'm doing video stuff, the S20 Ultra would be something to look at because it has all the extra cameras and so on. But when I researched that and when I looked at reviews, like, it had that little glass panel. And to me, like, even just looking at that on its own, I was like, this doesn't look safe to me. Huh? Is that the new flip on with 2 screens? No! Oh my God, I'm not that fancy. Do you know they're like heaps more expensive and I don't think you get as much stuff? Like, let the other people deal with the experimental phones. I'm just going to go for your stock standard brick. This is the new brick because I've brickified it because I'm a Nokia kid. And yeah, that's why I have the military cases, because I don't trust myself. And I think I've developed a lot of karma because in the early days of smartphone technology, people would drop their phones, their glass would shatter. I would drop my Nokia next to their phone and laugh and cackle because my phone was fine. Even if the casing came off, I just put it back together and it'd work. So yeah, that's why I put my phone in a military case, because I feel like all the laughing I did at other people will come back to bite me. Yeah, they've got the foldable, like the screen. I've been into the shop, I've looked at them. The screen actually folds in on itself. Like the screen folds. It's not that there's a break between the 2 screens. The screen itself folds, and I'm just like, this is some kind of sorcery. Yeah, and there's 2 flip ones. There's the one that's like a book, And then there's the one that's like it reminds me of my Game Boy Advance SP, and I'm so sad that Nintendo got rid of Game Boy, because like the Nintendo DS, I don't need the extra touch screen. I want to play Pokemon the old way, but hey, Pokemon has changed anyway, so I don't want to play Pokemon at all now, do I? I see, yeah, that's the one I thought you were talking about, which is, no, the S20 is just the regular flagship phone from last year. So this is the S7 Edge, and they sort of worked their way up, and then the S10, and then they're like, wait, next year is 2020, let's call it the S20 then. Neopets. Oh God, I hate the Neopets change. I think I've seen you online sometimes when I've been online, and I haven't done my dailies today, so I'll do that probably after this live stream. Yeah, no, Neopets is going through that transition that a lot of other websites have been going through. I think that's why New Facebook is a thing, and it's terrible. I hate New Facebook. And also Lulu, where I publish my poetry, they went through that sort of upgrade. I think it's something to do with HTML5. I'm not sure. But a lot of websites seem to be doing this transition, and it with varying results. They don't all manage it well. I think Facebook is doing a little bit better because they have two versions of Facebook going side by side. So as long as I don't log in as me, if I log in under like one of my old band's accounts, I can still see old, like even super old Facebook. So they have lots of parallel versions. And then it's just people like me. I think they picked me to be on a new Facebook, and sometimes I see features that other people don't see, and I think it's because I'm constantly online, and they're like, this is someone we should test on, and I'm like, why? And also I constantly complain, so I give them free feedback, and they're like, yes, we're going to keep torturing her, and I'm like, no, why do I keep walking into this? If I just didn't use Facebook, they wouldn't do this to me. Anyway, unfortunately Flash forced the hand. Yeah, now since they've really like ramped it up since Flash, has been killed. Yeah, and now I can't play my favorite games because like Google Chrome is like, nope. I could probably use a different browser, but I'm not going to. It's probably a good thing I can't play too many games there. Yeah, I'm a guinea pig. I don't want to get Hopi too excited though. He might think guinea pig's around. He still remembers the guinea pig, so yeah, anyway. I just went on a massive tangent. Why was that? Because we were talking about foldable phones and then Neopets. Oh, Game Boy Advance. Now I remember how we got here. No, okay. So the S20 is basically like last year's version of the S7 Edge, which I have. So it's yeah, I used to talk to my guinea pigs and all that, and they do that rumble strut thing. It's crazy. Guinea pigs are so funny. Yeah. Anyway, so the S20 is just like this, and Mum has one, and it's got like the 3 cameras, I think, on that side. It's like a panel. Now mine's the S7 Edge. So when they released it, there was an S7, and then the fancy one is the S7 Edge. It's like sometimes you have a plus version or something. And at the time it was Edge. I think because the curve edge on the screen was kind of a new thing. I'm not a huge fan of it because sometimes when you're trying to edit things or, trying to crop things, you can't get right to the edge. Because especially with this kind of a case, it's a little bit dicky. Yeah, so with last year's Samsung phones, right, they have the standard S20, then they have the S20 Plus, which is a little bit bigger, and then they have the S20 Ultra, which is like on steroids. So it had an extra camera, I think, and like, it's just like the S20 and Plus, 20 Plus, on steroids. And so me being me and also being someone who does video stuff, I looked at that going like, well, maybe I should look at the Ultra if I was going to replace this phone. Coming back to the story, oh my God, I hope people can still follow where we're at. When I was considering, do I repair or do I replace? And so because I already knew about Mum's phone, because or maybe that was when we were sneaking off to buy it for her. I don't know. I was considering getting the same phone as her or the S20 Ultra. But when I looked up the S20 Ultra, like S20, no real complaints. People were pretty happy with that. But the S20 Ultra had a bigger camera panel. So the S20 was like, if the S20 camera panel was like 1 finger, that was like the S20 Ultra was like 2 fingers. And it was this glass kind of thing. And me looking at it, I was just like, I don't like the fact that there's so much exposed glass here. And sure enough, when I researched it, people were reporting that it was breaking for seemingly no reason. Never mind getting hit, but seemingly no reason. So I was like, ooh, I don't want that. I don't want a huge glass panel on the back housing important stuff like that, because the camera is what I want to use. So yeah, I mean, Mum's phone probably would have been fine, but I thought, no, I'll repair it and I'll see what they do next year. Now we're at next year, and Samsung has even released their phones earlier. Usually it's like February or March that they release their phones, but they had their launch event sometime in the past week, or like their reveal event sometime in the past week, which there's been heaps of leaks for like months, and so there's not much surprising people. And then at the end of the month, I think it officially launches, and so now we're in the pre-order period. And I'm just gonna get my drink bottle because I've been talking too much and I'm out of tea. Sorry guys, I'll be back. I need to get like some paddles so I can row backwards and forwards. This is my bonsai bag. It's got my water bottle, my gloves, and I'm coming back, guys. I'm coming back. Okay, hang on. Okay. So, I don't know how much you guys have been following, because probably you don't care about the stupid high-end phones that I end up looking at, because I can't help myself. I'm the kind of person who shops at Woolworths even when there's an Aldi like right there. Aldi is like, for people overseas, I mean, Aldi's overseas anyway, but if it's not where you are, Aldi is like super cheap, generic kind of horrible products, but perfectly acceptable for most people. And then Woolworths is like your normal products, but that tends to be a bit more expensive. And me being the snob I am, I go to Woolies instead of Aldi. Those are in technique. Row your chair. We have Aldi. Yeah, so Aldi was like, they came in a few years back. And to me, they're still like this mysterious thing. But when I was living with my ex, and he's a bit more of Westie, kind of Westie trash, if we're going to get into Sydney snob politics. And so he'd go to Aldi, and I went in there and I was just like, this place is not right. Like, they've got, it's not Twix, but it's the same color packaging. And you're just like, what is this bullshit? Like some kind of weird counterfeit Twix. Are you kidding me? Cheap crap. I'm glad you agree. Although you may not support my horrible consumerism. Yeah, whereas Woolies has proper products. Aldi has these weird home brand kind of products. And yeah, my ex, like, he bought me this huge tub of body wash from Aldi. I was like, I don't want that. And he bought it anyway when I was living out there. And it's like this coconut smell, but it was a super artificial coconut smell. And then we had this huge tub of body wash. And I was like, I cannot wash my body with that. It smells disgusting. And to this day, if you get me like a shampoo with a coconut smell or anything like that, even though it's not that same horrible chemical coconut smell, I already have the PTSD for it. I don't want to use your coconut scented crap. So keep the coconuts away. Thank you very much. Unless you're doing a Monty Python skit, and then we can talk. Anyway, so Aldi is not the place for me. I'm too much of a snob. I go to Woolies. Oh, why am I like this? Anyway, what was I talking about? Me and my fancy phones. Hey, shop smart, not cheap. Yeah, and they've got better Pop-Tarts and all that, like the things that matter, right? I mean, there are some things that at Aldi that are apparently okay, but you have to know which ones they are. Otherwise, yeah. Needless to say, I don't do the shopping in the house. So, because apparently every time I come along, it gets more expensive. So I don't know if that's the same now, but in the past, my parents are like, you can't come shopping with us. It gets too expensive when you come. So anyway, no. I tend to like prefer to buy better products that'll last me longer rather than cheap products that I'm going to have to replace very quickly. And so that's why I buy ridiculously expensive computers. And I'm now considering a bloody $2,000 phone. Like when I got this, I think it was, maybe $1,300. And then I had to get accessories and stuff, but let's not include accessories. So yeah, the prices of phones as they've crammed more technology into it, it's just the prices have gone up. And I'm a bit like, I don't know that I want to spend $2,000 on a phone, because that's more than I spent on the old computer, possibly more than I spent on my Mac. This is just me having a sort of existential moment of like my money choices. But I don't spend money on like alcohol, for example. I don't smoke. I don't actually eat very much because I'm very tiny and my stomach can't fit it. So there's lots of different ways that I save money. My phone plan is essentially $5 a month. I'm on prepaid. I pay $30 for 6 months. So like there's all these weird little ways that I save money. Then I can justify the odd splurge here and there. But no, okay. So I was explaining the S21. So same as the S20, they have the S21. S20 would still have a good camera, though, I would assume. Yeah, the S20, like, you know, they had some good, I think they're 12 megapixel cameras. There's 3 cameras at different zoom levels. That seems to be the fashion in flagship phones, at least. I'm not sure about the smaller phones or the cheaper budget phones, but in flagships, yeah, if you have less than 3 cameras, it's a bit, yeah, it's my money. This is what the anti-alienware people don't understand. They're like, oh, you should have custom built, but no, I understand the value of custom building. It doesn't work for me. Thank you very much. I will spend my money where I want to. I will pay a little bit extra for convenience. That's me. Anyway, so the S21 is the same format as the S20. They have the standard S21 phone, then they have the S21 Plus, and then they have the S21 Ultra. Custom build costs a lot of research time. Exactly. I would rather spend my time doing something productive or goofing off in the way that I like to goof off. I don't want to spend my time on research and getting frustrated and troubleshooting and dealing with multiple warranty claims and blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not interested enough in tech. Like, some people think that I'm a tech person just because, like, when I do research, then I know what I'm talking about. But if I have no reason to research, fucked if I know. Like, Mum and I went and, like I said, we looked at the phones, and we also looked at smartwatches, which is not something I have any interest in. I don't wear watches anymore. None of the functions appeal to me. And so when we were looking at it, I was like, I don't know what this is. Mum asked me, what does this mean? I don't know what that means. I think maybe you can put a SIM card in the watch or something, so you could just make calls off your... I don't know. That's the best I could work out. I still haven't looked it up, so... Yeah, no, there's plenty of areas of tech I don't understand, but I think in high school people thought I was tech because, like, I had a Game Boy and I was interested in the computing subject, and I had my little robot dude who lives somewhere over there. I put that robot together from a magazine, so people thought I was heaps into tech, but everyone got iPods. I didn't. Everyone got, they started to get iPhones, I think, just as we were leaving school, or was that after? Was that in uni? I don't know. But everyone got all those gadgets well before me. I got an iPod Touch during Rainbow Death Ray, so I could take little photos and sort of use some of those apps while I was still using my Nokia phones before they turned off 2G. So, like, I was never really, like, I adopted the devices that were relevant to me and didn't give a crap about anything. So I built my PC, didn't save that much, but I enjoyed the process. There's all this extra reading and paying attention to tech stuff to be able to do it. Yeah, I just wanted to get back into, making the things that I do. Anyway, if I can stay on topic. So S21, S21 Plus, S21 Ultra. The major, like, external difference is this time the cameras actually look sturdy. So in the S20 series, the cameras, they had, like, 1, 2, 3 camera, or like 1, 2, whatever configuration it was on the S20 Ultra. And then there's this panel of glass, and it sort of surrounds them all. It's in front of them all, and they're in their own little section. With the S21 series, instead of it being glass, it's closed in metal, and it's like nicely melded into the side. I suppose I could get a picture up on my phone just so you can see the difference, because I can't. One of these days, I'm going to work out, like, I'll sit down with OBS so we can stream stuff and I can get stuff on the computer and show you pictures. But today is not that day, so I'll look it up on my poor S7 Edge. I'll show you a picture of the S20 camera, and then I'll show you one of the S21 Oh, if I can find one, because they're trying to advertise the other one to me. Okay, so we'll do the Ultra. Okay, oh, bloody hell, I've got the thing turned off. I'm sorry, I'm like, ugh! Huh? What? Why didn't it? Oh, never mind. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, can you see how that's like a glass panel? This is the S20 Ultra, and it has this sort of glass panel over the camera section, right? Okay, and so if I show you what the S21 Ultra camera looks like, if I can find it. A nice close picture, maybe, would be, hey. Oh no, oh no, oh no, you can't see it very well. Let me find another one. Hang on. Does that one show a bit better? No, it's not. It's struggling. Oh, I don't know. You guys can Google it then if it's not working here. Just, yeah, I'll figure out the OBS thing at some point. Last chance. Can you see how it's sort of like this metal thing, and if I hide my face, will it focus? It's just like this sort of metal bit that's sort of molded into the side of the phone. So instead of being like a random bump sort of half in the middle, like off to the side, there's this random bump for a camera that's covered by glass. It's now like built into the side, this sort of lump, and it's like metal around it, or something around it that's not just this glass panel. And so it doesn't look like it's going to break, just like if you tap the glass bit, like it looks sturdier. Yeah, it's sort of like built in. They've actually refined the design. So instead of the camera section being this ugly wart, it's now actually part of the shape, and it looks a lot sturdier. I went into the shop and had a look at it, and yeah, it looks like they've realized the mistake they made on the S20, and they've gone in and fixed it. And the other thing is the S20 Ultra, the S20 camera, from what I understand, was fine. We played with Mum's phone. She has a little bit of trouble focusing on things close up, but I showed her how to manual focus, and that's fine now. With the S20 Ultra, apparently there were heaps of focus issues, like worse than the S20. And so with the S21 Ultra, they fixed it with a laser focus system, which is presumably more accurate. It's from the early reviews, it seems to have fixed things. So yeah, the S21 Ultra, like I think the S21 series isn't a huge leap from the S20, but they've gone in and refined all the things that they should have done with the S20 series. Yeah, so rather like, and I kind of like that, because when you first develop something, it's not necessarily going to be done well. It's like after you've had a few goes at it, you finally get it to a point where it's a more mature technology, it's more useful. So like with the watches that we looked at, when smartwatches first came out, it's kind of like, what even is this gimmick? But now it seems like they've figured out exactly what you should be using it for. They seem to work nicely. Yeah, the technology's matured, and I feel like the S21 series is the S20 series maturing. And there's some interesting features in there as well, particularly for video. You can do, I think other phones have had this for a while, where you can record the front and back cameras at the same time. And then Samsung also has this new mode where you can like switch between the different cameras like in real time, instead of having to go back and edit it like I'm always doing with this thing. So I think it's interesting what they've done. So I'm looking at the S21 Ultra, which is in Aussie dollars, the cheapest version of it is $1,850, is in $1,850, which is a lot of money. Because I'm a nutcase and because I want to make better videos for you guys, I'm spending the money for you, damn it. Same with my Alienware. It's all for you guys. But also there's the part of me that's like, I want it. I want the shiny thing. God damn it. So yeah, the S21 Ultra is what I'm looking at. I mean, the S21 itself is nice, but it's actually a step down from the S20 in some ways. Like there's some things they do better, some things they do worse. For example, the screen resolution this year is less than it was on the S20. And then there was something else. Was it the refresh rate or something else? I don't know. There's a few things that they've downgraded this year for the S21, but I think maybe it's for the sake of battery life or who knows what. The S21 Ultra, though, they've sort of gone all out and added extra to it. So, yeah. And then the design for all of it is much more refined. How sweet. Yeah, it's for you guys. That's what I'm going to tell myself. That's why I'm buying expensive stuff. It's not the little devil on my shoulder going, spend money, capitalism. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at spending a lot of money, I guess. But it seems like a solid device. I am waiting a few more days because I want to see if any of these guys who have the early review model, if they spot anything horrible about it. But even if they do, I'm so done with this phone that I do need to get something and get something soon because I'm just so tired of having to do all the yeah. I'm sorry, first smartphone ever, but we are going to have to like not see each other so much anymore. I mean, I'll still use it for some stuff. One thing I could do is I could use it to film different camera angles if I come up with a reason to do so, and then I can just sync it up in software. That could be interesting, something I haven't really done on my channel. Maybe I have, I don't remember, but not very often. Because the camera is pretty good on this, like especially for the older technology. It's better picture than this webcam, so yeah. But so S21 Ultra, and some of you, I don't know if you've picked up, but I'm considering pre-ordering this thing. And if you remember with my Alienware, right, I got the Alienware R8 rather than the more updated R9, partly because like I don't want to be an early adopter. I'd like to wait for the technology to settle a bit. I like to wait for other people to test things and tell me what's wrong with it so that I don't go in blind. And then with early adopters, they find the bugs and they help the developers like fix the bugs. So, you know, you have a smoother experience when you come in late. And then also the R8 had some features that the R9 didn't have. So my philosophy is generally like never be an early adopter. But this time I'm considering pre-ordering, and I probably will, like, you know, in a couple of days I'll have bloody well spent the money on pre-order. But what tipped the scales for me, like if it was any other, if they didn't have this, I would have waited, you know, maybe a month or so and waited to see what people like in the real world experience, because those reviewers, I mean, they have to act nice a lot of the time, and if they want to keep, yeah, I think like early adopting is risky. So yeah, if it was normal circumstances, I would wait a month, see how people in the real world go, and then if everything's fine, then I'd buy the phone. This time I'm thinking of pre-ordering because they have a pre-order offer. I don't know if it's the same around the world, because I think overseas they give you like a smart tag or something, but which is like you stick it on your bag or something, or you stick it on your keys in case you lose your keys, and then you can use the phone to find it or something. I'm going to buy the lemon. Yes, I'm going to be one of the early adopters. I'm taking one for the team. Those people who line up for days to buy the new iPhone. Oh my God, I don't understand. Like, I'm not going to line up. I'm going to pre-order, and then they will deliver it to me, and I don't have to worry about any of that garbage of. Even at the moment, like yesterday, we were outside an Apple store, and you have to like book an appointment to go in, and we could have booked like for like right then because it wasn't busy, but they have this full-on booking system, and you queue. We decided not to go into the Apple store. Mum was interested in the Apple's version of the smartwatch. I think Dad has an iPhone, so I think she wanted to have a look, you know, in case it's something that he might find interesting. But we were just like, we're not making an appointment to go to the Apple store. No, thank you. We just looked at the JB Hi-Fi one. Yeah, Apple is Apple's one of those cults that like it would be fine if it wasn't so culty, but no, it's got this weird following. Anyway, so I'm thinking of pre-ordering instead of waiting a month, because if you pre-order before a certain date, they send you a free pair of their earbuds. They have these fancy earbuds. I think is it just called Earbuds Pro? I don't know. It's Apple NTY? Oh, no, thank you. Okay. Yeah. No, so if you pre-order the S21 Ultra, you get their Buds Pro. It's like a Bluetooth earbuds, noise canceling, goes right in your ear, and I still have a little bit of weirdness about things going on in my ears, thanks to a childhood reading Animorphs and thinking about yerks and stuff. But hey, that's what you need for noise canceling. They have to go right in. And the thing is, like, I mean, with the S21 series, you don't get a charger in there. They don't put a screen protector on it anymore, as far as I can work out. They don't give you, like earphones or anything. Mum got earphones in hers. They're wired ones. But they don't give you animals as well. Yeah. It just gives me paranoia about like mind reading and mind control, but that's just part of me. Yeah, so the S21 series for environmental, oh bullshit, we know it's cost saving, but for environmental reasons, they're not giving you a charger or any of this stuff. They're going to assume that you did not stick with an S7 Edge, and so that you do have a USB-C charger, which I do not, because I've had this phone for almost 5 years and I am well and truly out of date. Anyway, so they don't give you earbuds, which I didn't use the earbuds for this. I don't listen to music on my phone. I probably don't need the Buds Pro, to be honest. So the thing is, though, they're valued at $350. The Asian in me is like, get the deal. And also, I don't have any of the fancy gadgets that go with modern phones. So if I did want to listen to something to, like, stick my Pro headphones in, if I wanted to, I would have to peel back the case to even access the port properly, because this case only gives you a small space to get in there. And if your plug is too big, you have to peel back the case to plug anything in. But I could do it if I wanted to. If I wanted to listen to music on this, I could do it. Whereas if I want to listen to music on something that doesn't have a standard headphone jack, I don't have anything that can do that. All smartphones have different ports. All your smartphones have different ports and chargers. Oh, really? Because USBs are standard these days. But hey, anyway, so because I don't have like Bluetooth headphones, like what if I did want to use them? I don't have them. I don't want to spend money on them. So if I pre-order, I get them for free. That seems like a pretty good deal to me, especially because they're like fancy ones. And apparently, I don't know how well this works, but they claim that like when you put them in, if you're listening to music and you start a conversation with someone, they automatically turn down the music so that you can hear the conversation instead of having to take one out going, what? So I find that like it'll be interesting to test that, see how good it works. They're all different generations of USB. Oh, because you're like me and you don't buy stuff unless you have to, eh? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, no. But that would probably be more of a cable problem, because the other end of the cable should be USB-A, I think. I don't know. The standard one that, USB sticks use. I don't know. But yeah, so I want to get the Buds Pro just because, like, it's good to have a backup. The other thing is you can make calls on them, and you can also record audio. So when you're filming something, as well as all the different camera things that you can do, you can get sound from the phone itself, or you can get sound from the earbuds. So that if I want to, like, if I'm somewhere and I want to be talking, but I want to have my phone further away, or like, for example, like, the punk rave videos, and I do that thing where I walk away and show you what I'm wearing, right? When I go into software, because I'm further away, I have to increase the volume so that it's reasonably steady throughout the whole video. I do have a compressor now that I'm using DaVinci Resolve, but it's a little bit tricky to use. It's not what I'm used to in a DAW, a digital audio workstation, that I use for music. So if I was doing that kind of thing where I have to walk away from the phone, if I'm getting the sound from Buds Pro, and if the sound is good enough, I would have more consistent audio. So there's that. iPhones are annoying for that stupid designer jack. Can't just plug any old earphones in. Apple started this trend of getting rid of the headphone jack, but I can also understand the technical reasons for it. There are some issues, like in terms of what you can fit in a phone and what consumers value. So they really want your money. You're making me want to buy a new phone now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it does sound like a good deal, and the buds, like, they're interesting, and if I get them for free, then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll play with this technology. Whereas if I had to pay for them, I would never pay for them outright because it's not something that I usually use. So that's what's tempted me to the dark side of pre-ordering a phone. Bloody hell. Anyway, so yeah, and the other thing is, with this phone, when I got the port fixed right, the sound went. So with the S21 series, it's using USB-C, which is much hardier than this. Is it a micro USB? Whatever this was, it was the old standard. It was not very durable, only a certain amount of unplugs and plugs, and clearly I overdid it. They got you with free stuff. Yes. This is marketing at its finest. They've got me on this one. But yeah, no. In the unlikely event that the USB-C port does die on me, and if I do have to get it repaired and the same thing happens, the sound gets fucked up, it's not as big a tragedy if I have the buds and can record audio and listen to audio from that. At the moment, so the things that are wrong with the sound on this are call quality, as I mentioned. On my end, it's fine, but on the other person's end, they get an echo unless I hold this button and also changed a few settings. And even then, they don't really hear a great call quality. Another thing is when I record audio for my videos, it's unbalanced. The stereo balance is out. There's a little bit of distortion sometimes. There's this sort of popping sometimes. It varies a little bit, depends what mood the phone's in. It's reached that point where it becomes moody. Because technology, like, we like to think that they're all consistent, but they're still a physical item. So even identical computer type gadgets, they can have their own weird little glitches, and this one has gotten to the point where it's developed enough glitches that it has its own personality and its own mood swings. Anyway, so yeah, recording sound is not so good when I'm trying to record like an audio sample, because sometimes I would do like ideas and get it to sing it back to me. Yeah, all that's a bit messed up. Another thing that's messed up is the speaker. So when I play it back, especially when people Snapchat me stuff, Snapchat me videos, and I'm just like, why did you do that? And especially if there's sound, if I turn up the sound too much, it distorts really badly, like really, really badly. The only thing I can do for that is turn it right down, but then I can barely hear it, and then I have to lift it up like here, and then I can't watch whatever your video is, so don't send me videos. Especially on those apps that you can only really access from phone. As far as I know, there's no Snapchat for desktop. If there is, well, maybe I should be looking at that. I'm glad Instagram finally got messages onto desktop, so I can at least do that, because trying to message people on this, and I hate the phone focus that our world is in, but if you can't beat them, join them, right? Yeah, so the speaker is just crap. And so if I had those same problems, but I had the Bluetooth speakers, then it's less of an issue, because at least I can hear them here, even if I can't hear them here and can't record here nicely. I can record there. If the quality is good, we'll see. I'll do reviews and stuff, I guess, so we can see what it's like in the real world, and not just in the hands of the people who got the early review version and are told you can't say this and this and this. I could possibly be one of the first people to do a proper review on this phone, you know. God, which means I better get onto it quickly and, you know, try and clear my schedule out. But so that's where I'm at with the phone situation. Although the next problem I have, right, the basic, so I've decided I want to get an S21 Ultra. Terrifying. I think of the ad money from the angry nerds. Oh my god, I'm gonna get like Apple fanboys telling me the iPhone 12 is better. What are you doing? And I'm like, I don't give a shit. You know, go play with your iPhone. I'm quite happy, thank you very much. But so there's 3 levels of S21 Ultra. The basic one for 1850 Australian dollars, you get like the main differences between them. So that one has 128 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, this is one of the first flagships from Samsung that doesn't have an expandable SD card slot. So the amount of storage you buy is what you get. You cannot expand it afterwards. With this phone, my S7 Edge, it's a 32 gigabyte model. And then when I went to Japan a few years back, I put in a 128 gigabyte SD card because I thought, you know, like the way I use my phone, especially because I'm used to having smaller devices that aren't as capable. I always transfer like my photos and videos onto my computer. And then there's anything that I'm working on, I have like a copy on the different hard drives and so on. So, hopefully they don't die on me, and I've got at least some of it backed up. A lot of it goes to Facebook anyway, so that's another way that I like to think I'm backing up my photos. But yeah, I tend to take all the data off my phone and put it on the computer or onto a hard drive or whatever. So I generally don't need a lot of space. Even though I do a lot of video content, it's the computer's problem, not the phone's problem. And that's how I've used it. I think maybe my iPod put me on that habit because that would have been very small. So I would have just constantly been transferring. And I've kept that habit. So, but when I went to Japan, I was like, I can't transfer it to the computer. I better get an SD card. So I got a 128 gigabyte SD card. So that's a total of about 150, 160 gigabytes on this. And I have never filled it up, right? It just the way that I use the phone, I don't do games. It's just video. Like, I mean, I do have a couple games on here, but I haven't played them in ages. I'm just not at that time in my life where I need games. And maybe when I was depressed, I might have done them. I can tell you what the games are just while we're here. The 2 games I currently have installed. One is called Apocalypse. Oh, I think it was something. It just says Apocalypse on my screen. And so like you build a tower and you send out armies of whatever, and eventually you can get enough points to start an apocalypse, and then the whole game starts again. It's some kind of resource management idle game. And then another one's called My Museum. I think I did a video about that, and you just sort of tap away and unearth little dinosaur bones and stuff. It's kind of cute, but I haven't played them in ages. So I'll probably delete them, actually, because hell knows if they're even supported still. So I don't play games on the phone. It's mainly video content, I think, that takes up most of the space. And I'm constantly putting it on the computer, so it's not an issue. So 128 gigabytes, right? If I just get the basic S21 Ultra that has 128 gigabytes of storage, that should be enough, right, for $18.50? The next level up for $100 more at $19.50, you get 256 gigabytes of memory and 12 gigabytes of RAM. $100 for extra storage, though. I'm like, that's not bad. I'm already spending so much. It's such a small percentage of the total. Like, maybe you should just go for it. And then the most expensive one is another 200 on top of that, I think. So I think it's 21.50 Aussie. And you get 512 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is more than most people have in their computers, even today. And that's like the top of the line. Like, this is the maximum storage, the maximum RAM you can get. But that's $200 extra from the middle level one. It's $300 more than the basic level one. And once things go above $2,000, my brain's like, that's a little bit terrifying. Like under 2,000, over 2,000. So yeah. And it's just like, I've got to make a decision about that. And I was thinking, well, because I don't use a lot of storage, I could probably just go for the basic level phone, spend $18.50, get the 128 gigabytes, and I probably would never fill it up. But on the other hand, I'm spending a lot of money on a phone that I want to keep for a very long time, and I don't necessarily know how I will use things in the future. So like, should I go up to the 256 version? Just for that, like, it's only $100 extra when I'm already spending so much. I might as well get that little bit extra, right? And then I talked to Mum, and I'm like, Mum, I know which phone I want to get. I'm just not sure, like, which level of phone. And she said, just get the best one. You can't add to it. It's only $300 more. You should just get it. And I'm like, like when I was, and it's funny because when I was younger, like, my parents raised me to be stingy. They're like, money doesn't grow on trees. Go shake the money tree if you want that. You can't have this or that. You have to, like, save money. You have to earn the money, and, manage your money well. And it's funny, and like, as I've become an adult, I mean, I guess I have my own money now, and but also, like, mum's having more fun. I guess like maybe we're financially stable. Maybe when we were younger, like it's possible. I don't know what our finances were like when I was a kid. Like maybe we didn't have as much. I don't know. It's just not something that I paid attention to when I was really young. But I was raised to be stingy. So then when mum's suddenly like, just get the best one, it's only $300 more. And I'm like, only $300 more. How many shifts do I have to work for $300? Maybe about 1.5 shifts. If we're talking Monzo, that'd be my next week's. Anyway, that's just how I think about it. But no, as I've gotten older, mum's much more inclined to say, just get the best one. And so when we were looking at the smartwatches, she's like, do you want a smartwatch? Maybe you should get one. And I'm like, but I don't even wear watches. You should get one. You wear a watch, and you also have a fancy phone now. So mum's a bad influence. Yeah. Well, I mean, also she worked in finance, and I think she likes playing with other people's money. But also, like, mum, if I'm being completely honest, mum's probably going to help me out with this phone. So, it's not as painful for me, but I still think about the total cost. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter whether it's my money or someone else's money. The idea of spending $2,000 on a phone freaks me out a bit, because I'm like, do I really need the fanciest? Like, I really need the fanciest computer? And then there's the accountant part of me that is like, you should save money. And then there's what do we call the other part of me that's like, I want the shiny thing, the magpie or whatever, I don't know. Do magpies do that? The dragon, that sits on its pile of treasure. Although if you're sitting on a pile of treasure, presumably you're not spending it. So maybe that's an accountant. Are dragons accountants? I don't know. That's a weird thought for another day. Crows, is that it? I'm not very good with the birds. Yeah, no, there's that part of me that's like, I want the shiny thing. And then there's the accountant saying, no, you should be conservative with your money. Yeah. But yeah, no, mum has a fancy phone now. Like, mum used to buy the cheaper phones. And because like, especially early on, she didn't really use apps. She just wanted a phone, and maybe there were some functions. She actually uses more apps than I do. And dad plays games on his phone. I've seen him playing the block game, and I'm just like, my parents are more into tech than me in that sense. But yeah. No, mum's finally experienced the flagship phone, and she's like, this is great, because before she was using the cheaper stuff, or like she used Oppo for a bit. And like, there is an argument for the cheaper budget phone if you're a particular kind of user, but I think, at a certain point, flagships can be good, especially because you can use them for longer. Like, they get more updates. They're more likely to be able to handle today's apps and so on. Like, for example, with the COVID Safe app, when the government released that, I think her old phone couldn't do it. So that was like one of the reasons we were like, we've got to get mum a good phone so that she doesn't have to stress. Yeah, it depends on your needs and your priorities. And I think for mum, like, she struggled with one of those little phones for a long time, and now she's got a really nice one, and she can take photos of like food and stuff. And also she does video calls with her sister in Japan. So I think it's good to have something that has that good call quality and all that. And yes, I think she's really enjoying the phone. So it's like, mum, if you want to get a smartwatch, you have a fancy phone that can connect to it quickly and run it smoothly and all that kind of stuff, you could get it. But for me, I don't wear them anymore. I don't even wear my spiked wristbands, because it's hard to find, like, the ones that I used to have. I can't find anyone who sells them the same. So like, I've got some that I bought in Japan, but they're still a little bit different. And so I just don't wear them as much. And then I think at the time I used to wear them so much that my skin started to react to it because I didn't clean them properly. I'm a little bit grotty. So yeah, there was that. These days things are fine. I have a shower every week at least. But yeah, no, I just sort of fell out of the habit of having things on my wrist, and I don't need to know the time. Like maybe when I was at uni, if I need to know what time to go to a different class. But these days I don't need a watch. So yeah, it's more for mum and dad if they want to get smartwatches, They also do more fitness than me. So the fitness tracking, I did have a Fitbit for a while, but the only thing that ever really motivated me to exercise was probably Pokemon Go. When I was depressed, it helped me get out of the house. Yeah, so I think a smartwatch might be good for my parents because they would actually use some of the features, whereas for me, I can't imagine what I would do with a smartwatch. I probably wouldn't even wear it. I wouldn't know what to do with it. So yeah, no, for me, just the smartphone, and I'll have a go at the buds. The other thing is with the buds, mum's actually thinking of getting some because like the wired one, it works, but it doesn't fit in her ear great, and also when she's, like, working on gardening or something, she's got that cable. So, she's sort of thinking maybe, like, once we went into the store and had a look at them, and she realized you can get this kinda stuff, and they're actually reasonable quality these days instead of the cheap shit that you get for free in the case. Um, so we're thinking about, like, for her gardening, instead of like having a wire the whole time, she could listen to her music while she's doing stuff, or like she's done doing painting. So she gets a tub of paint and she touches up things in the house, and she actually does a good job of it, and that's just another way to save money and maintain the house. We live in a like 100-year-old house, so it does need maintenance every now and then. It's we get workmen in every now and then to patch up something, like when the roof, if you guys remember when the roof had the hole in it. Oh my god. But there's small things she can do, like painting, and she wants to be listening to music at the same time. And yeah, the wired headphones, they're not doing it for her. So I can get the buds for free. If I like them, I keep them. I let her try them. She can decide if the Buds Pro are for her, if they fit nicely. If not, she could try either the Buds Live, which is the next level down, but they're like these little beans and they don't go quite in your ear apparently, so the noise canceling isn't as good because you don't get that seal. Or the next level down is the Buds Plus, and I don't think it has noise canceling, but it has like extra interchangeable bits so that you can change different things until you find the fit that is perfect for your ear, and some people really like that. So if the Buds Pro don't work for her, she could try one of the other versions, because like you can't try them on in the store obviously for hygiene reasons, but you could just cross one off the list. Okay, it's a 50-50 between the other models. So that's something to consider. Or if I get the Buds Pro and I decide they're not for me, I can just give them to mum. And so we're still, I may be ant farming, but even if I don't like it, mum could still get some use out of it. So it's fine. It's not too gimmicky. And I used a Graysm ant farming. If you guys don't know what I mean by ant farming, I could try and grab Dad and he could explain ant farming, but I don't think he'd want to be on camera. Or is that Dave coming home from... Dave's been out at sport. I might just... I'll just let them wander for a bit. We'll see who it is. What was that face for? I think it's Dad. I don't think he'll want to explain ant farming, but it's from his generation of greys. So like when he and his siblings were younger, the oldest of them, I think, was saying like, we should get an ant farm, like it'll be the greatest thing ever, and like hyping it up. And because it's kind of a fun idea, right? Little ants running around and you can see them building stuff and all this kind of stuff. But then when they actually got it, it was just sort of like, oh, it's not really that great after all. It is a gimmick. And they lost interest very quickly. And so anytime you get like a fancy gadget that seems like it's going to be great, but it's also like overly hyped or whatever, I don't know if I'm explaining it the greatest, because like it's sort of contextual that I picked it up rather than from the story. I don't know. I've fallen from hype or fallen for hype? Fallen for, yeah. I've noticed it with like a lot of video games, is like when there's something super amazing that's going to come out, and then you get stuff like No Man's Sky, and what's the new one, the Cyberpunk game, and yeah, they're not really polished or what they promised to be, or they don't run properly or whatever, and everyone's like been hyping them up for months, and then they come out and it's sort of like, oh, and lots of refunds and all that kind of stuff. It's just I can't, it's so distracting. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so ant farming is sort of like the hype and the gimmick, and you know you're going to lose interest very quickly, but you get into the hype anyway. I guess because I grew up with this terminology, so it's hard for me to explain because I wasn't there when it came about. But from the context, like maybe I've developed a new meaning for it, and so I'm like, that's such an ant farm. And so yeah, with the earbuds, they could be an ant farm, or they could be something that I actually end up using, or it could be something I end up giving to mum and it becomes mum's ant farm, I guess, in a way. Anyway. Oh, I'm so distracted by the small noises out there. Anyway, so I think, does that cover all the current technology things on my mind? Probably. I've just got to decide, what level of phone I get. And mum's pushing for the 512 gigabyte, 16 gigabytes of RAM. And the thing is, my old Dell computer only had 12 gigabytes of RAM, and now I'm contemplating getting a phone that has more RAM than my old computer. It's just like my brain is just like growing up from the 90s and 90s technology, and now it's like, this is the world we live in, and I have a computer that's got 64 gigabytes of RAM when I was a kid, we might have been lucky to have 64 megabytes of RAM, or maybe even less. God, I don't even know. I remember in high school having a, I think I had a USB stick that had 512 megabytes of storage. And then it cost like $80. And then the next year you could get twice as much for half the price. And it's just like, yeah, wow. Things don't go quite as fast as that these days, I feel, but yeah. Now I'm thinking about getting a phone that has more RAM than my old computer. And the thing is, I don't need the RAM. I know I don't need it. RAM in a phone is good for multitasking mainly, at least from what I can understand from research. Whereas, it just multitasking and when you open a whole bunch of different apps. But when am I going to do that? Why do I need to open 50 apps at once? I don't. But I have seen people on YouTube going we're going to open as many apps as we can and see how many stay open on this particular model of phone. And I'm just like, but why? Who would use it like this in the real world? Even on my desktop computer, I might have YouTube open on one side of the screen and I might be playing Neopets on the other. And that's maybe about the extent of my multitasking, or maybe yeah. I don't have that many apps even just installed on my phone, never mind ones that I would use all at once. And then on my computer here, I tend to just do one thing at a time. Maybe I'll have a video program open and I'll have an internet tab just with Facebook so I can see if anyone's messaging me. Maybe I'll have something like that, but I'm not going to be opening 50 things on my computer. Even with the way I use my browser, I've seen people who do open 50 tabs at once, and I'm just like, why? You don't need to. I might open a dozen at most if I have a bunch of YouTube videos lined up that I want to watch and I can't be bothered to use YouTube's version. I just put them into different tabs. And then when I'm done with it, I close it. That's just how I use it. So I don't need the extra RAM in a phone, but it is nice to be like, oh, I've got 16 gigabytes of RAM in my phone. And then there is that future-proofing thing, what if I need that much in the future? But I think with those flagship Samsung phones, you only get 3 years of software updates, operating system updates anyway. So with iPhone, they tend to have less RAM because the operating system is much more efficient. And also, even if they can't keep everything open, the processor is fast enough to bring it back online, because, you know, Apple really focuses on making things efficient, and they only make a certain number of phones a year, and it's all their own well, maybe not all their own hardware these days, but it's all like made in-house and all tweaked in-house and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Android is running on a gazillion different things. Samsung has more than one product, and in the expensive devices product, they do have those folding phones now. So Android phones tend to need more RAM, but not by a lot. And I mean, this only has 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it's lasted me a good 5 years. Like, I've not needed more than that for any of the stuff that I do. So yeah, and even the basic, like the 128 gigabyte and 256 gigabyte storage models of the S21 Ultra, they both have 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is the same as my old computer had, and that was doing video editing. I don't really see myself editing stuff in phone. Maybe if I was traveling somewhere, but in the times we live in, when am I going to do that? And actually, speaking of today's era, right, when we went to JB Hi-Fi to have a look at the phones, because they already have them on display, you can go and have a look. People are obsessed with the black color, apparently, which I'm just like, there's nothing special about that. Like, you know, my speakers kind of look like that, that kind of texture. I don't understand the hype. I think the silver one is much more interesting. But in the end, I'm going to put it in a horrible black case anyway, so who cares what the color looks like? But you can go and have a look at the S21 series at JB Hi-Fi. And so that's what we did. And then the guy was trying to sell it to us, try to get us to pre-order it. But one of the things he was saying is, my phone is on Optus. If I switch to Telstra, they would give me the phone for like $1,000, the 128 gigabyte model. They'd give it to me for $1,000 if I also signed up to a $99 a month plan with Telstra. And it works out overall to about like, I think it was $2,200 over 12 months, like the phone plus the monthly thing. And so like it's not actually a bad deal if you're someone who uses, I think it was, did he say 150 gigabytes of data or something ridiculous, and it's 5G and all this kind of stuff. If you do use a lot of data and you want the super fast internet, like, you know, you're on a long train trip and you want to watch YouTube, maybe that deal would be really good. But for me, not really. And I think my brother's just come home, so I'm sorry if I get quiet again. But yeah, for me, I don't go anywhere. Where am I going to go? Like, even if there wasn't a pandemic on, I only go to a certain number of gigs. And then the rest of the time, where am I going? I know, Hopi. I know Dave's here. Hey, Hopi. Oh, he's coming here to hang out. So yeah, I've got nowhere to go. I don't watch YouTube when I'm out and about. When I'm on public transport, I tend to just zone out and either watch stuff outside, or my head has plenty going on in it. So I don't need to be watching YouTube all the time when I'm out and about. So I don't need a fancy plan with 5G. I am happy with my Optus prepaid, you know, $30 every 6 months. It's $5 a month because I don't go out very much. I don't even use the whole $5, so I roll it over every 6 months. And I think how much data, I don't have data, you pay for it separately, but in terms of the total amount of credit I have, credit is the word I'm looking for. Oh shit, what's my password? I think. Maybe, yes. Okay, so I've got $160 of credit because I just keep rolling it over. That's how much I have for the next 129 days, and I will not use much of that at all, because where do I go? I go to work. I don't, when I'm at Bonsai, I generally don't look at my phone because I'm just working all day. Maybe at lunchtime, if I finish my food quickly and I'm just sort of sitting around, sometimes I turn on the data and have a look what's going on, check my messages, but mostly I don't. The more data they give you, the more you find yourself using. But see, like, I have $160. I could be looking at more stuff, and I just don't. I just keep rolling it over and accumulating it. So yeah, so I work is one place I go out, don't really use much data. Sometimes I go out with mum, but I take all my photos and then I come home and upload them once I'm on Wi-Fi. Yeah, I really don't, like, no one calls me. Anytime someone calls me, I freak out a little bit. Usually it's dad calling me for some small thing. Sometimes my boss calls me, my bonsai boss calls me. Um, I don't really call many people. I don't like phone calls. I prefer people to text message, or not text message because that costs me money. See, because I know it costs me money, I also use it less. But like, Facebook message, because I'm on Facebook all day, most days, if I'm near my computer. If not, I'll be back in an hour or two. Sometimes I get carried away, but yeah, no. And there's not really anyone that I have urgent business with, especially because I'm not in a band at the moment. So yeah, I really don't use the phone as a phone that much. It's just like I'm paying $5 a month so that if I need it in an emergency, I can call, or someone can call me. Also, because I've now rolled over so much prepaid credit, if someone does need me to look up something, I don't have to be stingy about it. I'm just like, oh yeah, sure, I'll look that up. Yeah, $5 a month is fine for me. So even if I pay for the phone full price instead of their $1,000 whatever, I pay for the phone full price and I'm paying $5 a month. At the end of the year, I still come out $300 on top. I worked out. Having two people I can actually call. Yeah, I don't know, phone calls. There's some people who prefer it, but I generally don't. I get that sort of phone call anxiety. And then, yeah, no, also not being able to do calls on this very easily doesn't help. Sometimes if someone's trying to call me, or if I need to call someone, I'll just use the landline. We tried to get rid of the landline, but it comes with NBN, so we just kept it anyway. So yeah, because my phone's stuffed. Every now and then, like, my boss was trying to get in touch with me one day, and I just was like, no, I'm gonna call him on the landline. Yeah, and because I'm home a lot, why wouldn't I use the landline? It's a cheaper way to do things, especially because I don't pay the phone bills in the landline. I only pay my mobile bills here. Living with your parents, it's a cheap way to live, and the main thing you do in return is fix all the technology. So I don't necessarily know all the technology, but I know how to Google, and that's how I earn my keep. Well, one of the ways. So if we want to freak you out, call you via Facebook chat. Yeah, but see, I won't pick up. And then I'll probably mute you, and then you'll never be able to get in touch with me again. I have had to mute like randoms trying to call me on Facebook, though. I've got too many friends on there. And then sometimes I just silently get rid of them because there's a lot of people I don't know, and I don't remember why I added them in the first place. I guess I've been on the platform so long I wouldn't remember everything. But yeah, no. So if you use a lot of data, and all that kind of stuff, the Telstra deal is not bad. But if you're like me and you don't need all that, I'm better off staying with the prepaid. And with the fancy phone thing, like, some people would get the fancy phone because they want it for like gaming or YouTube, like watching film, watching Netflix or whatever. But my main attraction is the camera functions, because YouTubing is my hobby. I'm just that sort of weirdo. This is what I'm into. So yeah, and it saves me the trouble of having to buy separate camera gear, because I do have, oh my god, I still have my camera that I got for my high school project. My it's got like a little tape in it, like one of those little cassette tapes for doing video, and it's very low resolution. I could probably plug it in as a webcam, but it's kind of clunky, and it's huge. I also have a DSLR that I still haven't fixed the lens. I've got instructions on how to fix it. I just haven't sat down to actually do it. One day I will, but today is not that day. And I know a lot of YouTubers do use fancy standalone cameras, but like, it's chunky. And then, like, you want to take that outside. It's so much easier if I just grab this out of my bag, or, if it's attached to the little clip thing. The little clip thing, I do it like this. And then I just attach it to my, like that. I can just take it out and I can film stuff out and about. It's much more convenient, especially because I'm not a pro YouTuber and I don't make money off this. Like, thank you for everyone who sends me pocket money through YouTube or through Patreon. But I'm not a professional level YouTuber, so I can't really justify getting all the fancy gear. One thing though that I am thinking of, I mean, I've been thinking of getting a new microphone mainly for my covers and for like recording, my projects, because I don't think this one is great for growls. I don't think I got it thinking that I would do a lot of growling on it. So I want to get a microphone that's a bit better for that. But that's for music stuff. For like purely YouTube type stuff, one thing I'm considering is getting a proper lighting setup. But I may have to like clear out all this junk on this side, particularly the desk. I may have to clear out some of that just to feel like I have enough space for lighting gear and a space to actually record stuff, and so things look better. But it's not really necessary. It's mainly for things like when I'm doing like the Punk Rave Australia stuff, trying to get the lighting right for that was really difficult. And, that's why it's just so hard to show the details. And so if I had some lighting, if I want to show you stuff in good detail, that makes it easier. But if I'm just vlogging, it's not a big deal. I just turn on this thing and, we can just chat. But that's just something I've been considering. Like at some point, maybe I should get some better lighting, whether I get like the fancy 3 light setup or if I just get one decent light that makes things look better. I don't know. It does cost money. I've managed to save money during the pandemic somehow, even with Hope's medical issues. I guess I was working a lot more. Like I got into the weekly pattern at Bonsai and got into more of a pattern with my finance job. And then once JobKeeper finished, I've been stayed on Centrelink. And because I'm working enough, they don't harass me. So I'm able to stay on Centrelink without going mad. So yeah, and because I haven't been going out, I haven't spent much. So I've managed to scrape together a bit of money. So I could do some of this stuff. Yeah, there's a lot to research, particularly with I don't know anything about lighting. Microphones, fine. Phones are easy to research because they're a common item, but a lighting setup and like which lights are good value, and then how do you use them effectively? I've got a basic level of understanding, and then me being just like a one-person channel, like I know some other channels, it looks like it's one person, but they actually have a production team behind it. Is it really worth me doing that? Or maybe it's like, in a couple of years' time, maybe when I've figured out stuff, maybe when I've got the memberships thing going and we can have funny little emoji things and badges and whatever, maybe then we can think about that stuff. I don't know. It's just stuff that's on my mind. I guess because I've decided YouTube is one of the hobbies I want to stick to, maybe I could put a bit more money into it to make it better. Because, yeah, especially big YouTube channels, some have crews of full-time stuff. Yeah, and then they script stuff as well, and they try and make it sound like it's not scripted, but they all have that particular way of talking, and it's scripted. And I know anytime I try and script something, like even when I'm reading my Facebook posts and I try to make it sound more natural, but it doesn't really work that way. It's always not quite there. I think it's very hard to sound natural if you're not doing it legitimately natural. Like even with like acting, when I pay attention to acting and how actors do stuff, when you see a really good actor and you're like, oh yeah, they're a good actor. But if you stop and think about it, in almost all these movies and TV shows and whatever, no one talks like that in real life. And like the way the conversation moves, it's not natural. It's just that we're so used to watching shows like that you're like, oh yeah, that's how it is. But it's not natural a lot of the time. And I think like it's the fashion now to speak in those ways. I mean, I'm talking in general. There might be a show here and there that does do natural speech well, but for the most part, not really. And then if you look at really old film, they had a different style because I guess they were more used to theater, and maybe they're trying to use a theater version as TV and film has evolved and all that. So when you look at old stuff, you're sort of like, that sounds really unnatural. No one speaks like that. But I think it's partly, I mean, I guess they spoke differently at that time, like in public generally, but also the style of acting has changed. And yeah, it's one of the difficult things, I guess, because I did like Hallow Scream a couple years ago. And so like, that's my first proper acting sort of gig. And then I was sort of like, do I want to do more acting? And so I was thinking more about like, what would it be like to act? And then I'm paying attention to more stuff that I'm watching. And I'm just like, this is not how people speak. If I had to deliver that line, I would not deliver it like that, especially not if I'm trying to make it sound naturalistic, like real. As a writer, natural dialogue really stands out. It's a bit of scale of naturality. Yeah, but I think even with writing, because someone had to write these scripts, right? And then if you really pay attention to what you're reading and you think about how people speak, like in writing, you don't get as many of the stumbles that people have. Like if you listen to me just riffing off the top of my head, there's lots of pauses, there's bits where I stumble over my words, repeat sounds and so on. You don't really get that in writing, for obvious reasons, because you can't just write a whole thing of speech where they're constantly stumbling over it, unless that's part of the story. Like there's a reason not to do that. It's just something that strikes me, like yeah, just like looking at stuff mainly in film, but if you really wanted to go into it with writing as well, it's not really natural. And so when you talk about good actors, I guess they're delivering it as best as they can, perhaps to serve the story and at least get you immersed in it, even though it's not completely real. I don't know. I think what messes with my head a little bit is because when I was in year 11 is when I did drama. I did drama and film previously, but I actually did the drama elective, and we studied Stanislavski, and I think it's all about trying to like actually feel the emotions and make things as real as possible. And so like, if you need to act sad, you try and remember something sad that'll prompt you to have that physical reaction, at least from what I remember. And then when you think about like, okay, there's that, and then I want to try and deliver the dialogue as realistically as possible, but it doesn't really work that way. And I guess it's just the disconnect between what I'm told and what's actually the case. And so getting my head around that, maybe it's just me that thinks like this, but I was told like, you want to try and make it as natural, as realistic as possible. But what they actually mean is not that. They want you to deliver it in a way that makes people feel like it's natural, even though it's not quite there. I guess like when people give me instructions, I take it a bit more like seriously. Like I think that they mean what they say, but they don't always. They're just saying it that way because they don't know how to describe it properly. And they actually mean something else. And how did I get on that tangent? I don't even know. YouTube maybe. Oh, YouTube scripts. That's how we got onto it. Yeah, no, it's probably better for me to have dot points. Just you still have to concentrate to make the dot points. Movie ratings can make a difference. Oh, like, what they're allowed to say. No, but it's not even that. Oh, hello. Good morning. It's actually night here. It's almost 10 p.m. We've been going for 2 hours, so actually I should probably start winding up a bit. I'm sorry, but if you want to like throw me a question before I actually leave, go for it, because I don't want you to miss out having turned up towards the end. Yeah, no, what's happening later on in 5 hours? The whole American inauguration, I think, is on at 3 a.m. in a local time here. Needless to say, I will not be waking up for that. I'm pretty over American politics, but hey, that's a big deal at the moment. I still think Biden was a boring candidate, but on the other hand, maybe that's what America needs right now, just to chill out. Also, like he's had so much experience. Like if you think about Trump's team, some of them or a lot of them didn't really understand government. And so like with transitioning the teams in, like what can they possibly tell Biden's team? Like they're all over the place. But because Biden already has so much experience in government, he probably doesn't really need the transition. Like, how did you guys do it? Don't worry, we already know. That's why he got the nomination, because he's the status quo from the Dems. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was such a boring, like one of the younger guys would have been interesting. But, America's been a little bit too exciting the past few years. The comedians have had it easy. They just repeat whatever Trump said or whatever happened, and there you go. There's your comedy. Maybe America just needs someone boring who already knows. What and when is your next vocal cover? Ooh, I don't know yet. Earlier in the stream, I talked about an audition that I don't know if it's going ahead or not, but I had to learn 3 cover songs for that. And regardless of whether or not the audition goes ahead, maybe I'll do a version for my channel. Oh, that's something I didn't get to actually. So like I want to be doing more covers. So it could either be Slipknot, it could be, but I've got to change a lot. It could be Trivium. It could be Parkway Drive. Yeah, Biden is the oldest, I think. It was all old people, you know, who got very far. He might die in office, so that might be exciting. Oh my god. Anyway, back to the yeah. I think Bernie would have been older if he had, but you know, he's too far on the left. You know, you need the centrists. They all sort of banded together to get Biden back in front. No, music. So Slipknot, Trivium, Parkway Drive, they'll come at some point. At some point, Taylor Swift. I know I have to mention that or people will get mad at me. We will be doing a Taylor Swift cover at some point. I just can't tell you when. There's also Thornhill I'm working on. That may be a collab, I think. I think we're doing that as a collab. And what other songs? I don't know. I think those are the main ones. Taylor Swift. Yeah. So I want to do more covers. I'll do them when I can. But what I'm working on at the moment, damn late to the party. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sort of getting towards the end. But yeah, talking about, if you have a pressing question, chuck it at me before I leave. No, so one of the things taking up a lot of my time, so like work has gotten crazy again. I've been trying to learn all these songs for different auditions, but I'm also working on my first ever music video, and I naturally have gotten way too bogged down into things, and it's got way more detail than I should have put into it, and I'm experimenting with different effects and so on. And so it could be interesting by the time it comes out. It's just taking me a while, and I have to sit down and concentrate on editing this music video because I've designed it in such a way that I didn't have to get fancy camera gear. I didn't have to get people to help me do it. The person I'm collaborating with for music has helped with a few clips, but for the most part, I've filmed it on the gear I have, in the setup I have, and I'm using mainly a lot of editing to make it look hopefully not shit, or at least interesting. Like it might still look a bit DIY, but at least it'll be interesting. And so, yeah, I've managed to keep it sort of hush until now, but that's one thing that I'm doing that's taking up a lot of time is this music video. I think the song is already out now, but I'm not going to promote it until I've got this music video done. If you find it, good for you. But yeah, I'm working on a music video, so that's what's taking a lot of time. Please bear with me because, yeah, it might be a while before I can get much video content done, unless I do like a really quick video here and there about some vapid topic that just comes out my, yeah, I don't know. Drum cover. Well, look, I do have a drum kit. Doesn't mean I can necessarily play it, but I could have a go one day. The problem with that, though, is the hi-hat pedal is very old, and it's the older version of the hi-hat pedal, and I don't know how much you guys know about electric drum kits, but with this particular one, there's this rubber bit inside it, and so it pushes down, and that triggers the hi-hat. But what's happened, because it's rubber, it's sort of hardened over time. So then when I press it, it doesn't do that movement anymore like it used to. It's just sort of stuck. So I have to really stomp it to get the thing to happen. And I'm very small. I weigh barely like 50 kilos, and I'm a small female. I can't press it down enough. So there are a couple of options for that. I can open it up. I can put slits in it, and that has helped some people get some movement back into it. Apparently trying to like boil it can get a little bit flexibility into it, but then you have to open it again later. You can replace the rubber bit itself, but over time it's going to stiffen up again. And with how little I play it, you know, it's not worth it. Or I can buy the next model up of hi-hat pedal, which is compatible with my drum set, and then not have that problem ever again, and I can just play it whenever I want. And so that's something I probably should do. I just haven't got around to it. And of course, like, you know, that's more money that I've got to spend because it's a fancier version. It's more expensive than just getting a new pedal or a new piece of rubber or whatever for it. So yeah, if you really want me to do it, I could think about replacing that pedal, because I also have a drummer friend who is interested in, you know, whether it's worth getting. So Yeah, I could, but at the moment I'm sort of prioritizing my phone situation and see, even once I buy the phone, let's say I get the most expensive one, which I think was 2150 Australian dollars. I also have to buy my OtterBox case. I'd be getting the Defender Pro because I'm that paranoid about the can't wait for more covers in your new music video. Yeah, thank you. Yes, stick around. I don't know. I can't tell you when all this is happening, but it will at some point. Um, but yeah, so 2150 for the phone that I'm thinking of getting. The OtterBox Defender Pro is about 110 Aussie dollars, I think. The S21 Ultra doesn't, as far as I know, come with a screen protector of any kind. So I want to get a film version. I don't want to get one with an adhesive or like, too fancy. I just, because they have the S21 Ultra, the S21 series, I think, has the fancy new version of Gorilla Glass. So it's supposed to be more scratch resistant and break resistant anyway. So I just want like that extra layer of insurance. I'd probably get a film protector, which is anything from $1 up to $40. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. I haven't decided. I'll go to JB Hi-Fi, talk to them about it. I've got to buy a charger because the charger doesn't come with it. I don't have a USB-C charger because this is a 5-year-old phone. Oh, this is the problem with keeping technology for a long time, is then you have to buy all the parts again. It's like, if I get my MacBook Pro from 2009, if I want to upgrade, then I have to get the new Logic software. That's my Logic Studio box there. Because I don't know if the old Logic is compatible with the new MacBook. So hopefully that computer will run forever and I never have to upgrade it. But that's not how physical objects work. Everything decays. So that's one downside of keeping tech for a long time, is like you do have to put up a lot of, cost to get yourself set up, and then you can go for ages and not think about it again, though. And that makes my life easier. But yeah, so I'm focusing on the phone at the moment, and like, even if I get the cheaper version of the phone I want, I still have to spend extra on these accessories to get myself fully set up, and then we're ready to go, and then I can think about stuff. So perhaps at some point I can get the drum kit back into a playable state. Like, everything else is fine. It's just the hi-hat pedal that's difficult. The drum kit cost me $4,000, but that was my 21st birthday I got that for, and the entire family gave me money, so that was fine. I still paid a little bit on it, but this is my life, buying, like, it's got mesh heads, which at the time were not as common, and yeah, but it's still a decent sounding thing. I just can't play it very well. Yeah. So I'm not getting rid of the drum kit. I'm just going to get rid of the cello, I think. Because, I can't play it. It's connected to my ex. I could probably use the money from selling it if I'm going to be buying other things. I'm not going to be buying another cello. Yeah. Yeah. I need to organize this corner of chaos. Oh, I should show you that other terrarium I made, but I'll do that some other time. Anyway, so this is your last chance to chuck some questions in live chat, because I'm getting tired, and I've got so much work today. You should see the stack of paper I have to process tomorrow. Let me just... It's legit like a finger thick, the amount of papers I have to process tomorrow. But at least I'll get some more hours, which means more money and keeping Centrelink off my back. And also I'm going to try and tune in. I think Samsung is live streaming an event to do with the S21 series, so I might tune in for that and see what they've got to say to us live. Yeah. So once this live stream is done, way more than 5 pages. I don't want to know how many. I could probably log into the software and just see how many are waiting for me, but it's a huge... When's the next live stream? Same time next week, 8 p.m. Sydney time on Wednesday. I will schedule it as soon as I get a cute little graphic, which will probably have this guy in it again. For the moment, he's my live streaming mascot, I guess. So I'm trying to do live streams every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Sydney time. So right now is 10 p.m. So 2 hours before now next week, if that makes any sense, depending on your time zone. Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to just get into a real habit. Once we get into a habit, you know, we can start maybe setting topics for different live streams. You guys can tell me what you want to talk about. Yeah. Well, because like I had to, if you've seen my previous live stream thumbnails and like the card that I have at the end of my videos, it's me in my modeling getup. Okay, got it. Thank you. So cute. Yeah, it's my modeling photos from 5 years ago, and I was just like, oh, it's so old. Maybe I should put something else. And I couldn't think of anything else because I haven't taken any fancy photos for a while, really. So I was just like, well, I got this. I'll cut him out. I'll stick him in the thumbnail. And I mean, because we're all grumpy, right? You know, the 2020 was very, you know, we're either grumpy or we're really grumpy, and this suits me because, yeah, I mean, I know I seem bubbly, but I can be grumpy and I can be a violent mood. Yeah, although the red like stands out better against some of the black stuff. Although from your view, maybe it's not so bad, especially because I'm wearing red today. We can be extra grumpy. We need to give it a name. I think it's a he. 2021 might be even worse. Yeah, or it could go the reverse way. Like 2020 started out okay and then got progressively worse for most people. Although, unless you're in a bushfire prone area, 2021 could be the opposite in terms of starting out shit but getting better. And if you think about, instead of bushfires, we've been having a lot of rain. So it's kind of the opposite for them too, but maybe not in a positive way. You know, if it's going to get worse, we could have fires at the end of the year instead of the beginning. Who knows? Yeah, no, with the octopus, I need to come up with a name. I think it's a he, but the one thing that makes me, like, my brain just says it's going to be a he. But the one thing that makes me think maybe it's not a he is, okay, we have time for one more story. I didn't really get to do dissections at school. I think I just kept missing out on the classes. Like, different teachers did them. Not every teacher did a dissection. And I didn't do biology in year 11 and 12. So in the other ones, I just kept missing them. One time, though, we did have a marine biology teacher who was taking our science classes. So at the end of year 10, after the school certificate, when nothing really matters, we just did marine biology. And he said, okay, as long as you pay attention to this stuff, at the end, we can do a dissection. We did octopus dissection. And me being me, when we finally got our hands on them, I picked the biggest one. It was only about that big, but mine was the biggest out of all of them. And then we cut them open. You have to be very careful not to cut the ink sac so it doesn't go everywhere. And then once we'd cut them up, we cooked them on a little Bunsen burner with a little tray, and we had sauce and all that. But my octopus was a dude, and the way you know it's a dude, at least for, I don't know if it's different for a different species of octopus, but this one of the tentacles ends in a little spoon, and that's how it, you know, spreads the sperm around. Yeah, and no one would eat the sperm hand. No one would eat the spoon hand. Anyway, do you see any spoon hands on these tentacles? I don't think. Could be a girl. My brain says dude. If your formaldehyde tastes wonderful, some of it splashed in my mouth during this section. Oh my god, we didn't have any of that. I guess because we were you know, cooking them. It was like a dissection / cooking event. Yeah, so they have a little spoon on the end of there's no spoon here. I mean, no one is going to make an accurate male octopus, probably, because that would just be super weird. But maybe now that I've mentioned it, someone will be like, gee, maybe I should make an octopus with a spoon hand. Anyway, so my instinct says he, my science knowledge says she. If you want to be super modern, like, what the fuck is this world today, we could go for they, but I think that's not me. I'm too old, you know, like, I grew up in a different era. Even though I look young, people assume that I'm in with all that. My brain doesn't quite get that. I try, I forget, I'm sorry, it's not my world. I think if I had grown up 10 years later, maybe I would be a they. I would call myself a they, but that's not where I ended up. I'm old and stuck in my ways, and so it's either a he or a she. My brain says he, my science says she. What do you guys think? And what should I call it? I'm reluctant to take any of your advice, but just in case one of you has a good idea. 1983. Yeah, I'm 1988. Some people think I'm young. He? Yeah. I think he. But, open for debate. Anyway, so yeah, people can give me your thoughts, and at some point we'll decide. Um, it just doesn't say she to me, and I'm so old fashioned. There are people who still think I'm young. I think because like I don't act like an adult, and like I do the crazy hair, and yeah, I don't like act like an adult. I guess I'm just not good at being an adult. Ollie, why? I need a reason to give it a name. Like I guess because maybe it's a fiction thing. Ollie the octopus. You should call them Scoop Scoop. Asian raisin. Raisin? What? Oh yeah, no, I'm half Asian, so there's also that maybe confuses people about my age because like I look white, but I'm half Asian, and it throws people's age thing off. Um, yeah. Anyway, no, with names, it needs to be meaningful. I don't know if that's just a thing with me, like I'm a little bit obsessed with meaning, but also like used to read Earthsea, so like that sort of wizard and magic thing where names have power. There was a little bit of that in Angel, names having power, at least in one storyline. Also, ancient Egyptian mythology, the name is very important. Name you have power over, whatever, if you know its name. Yeah, I don't know. That's just the name has to be meaningful. So if you can come up with a reason why it should be called Ollie, maybe. Scoop Scoop. And you're saying call them, so you're going for a non-binary Scoop Scoop octopus that doesn't have a Scoop Scoop. That one could work actually. Aki the octopus was my immediate reaction. Arco is 8 in Spanish. Yeah, in Japanese it's Hachi. And me being half Japanese, I don't know. We will ponder this question further. So maybe next live stream we can try and come up with a name for it. Unless I come up with like other topics, and by then I might have pre-ordered this crazy $2,000 phone. God knows. So yeah, well we'll see. We'll figure stuff out. But so next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Sydney time, I will be back unless like something explodes, which is always possible because 2020 was weird. We don't know what 2021 is going to be like. Names in the comments. Yeah, you can drop a name for the octopus in the comments. If you can leave a reason why, that would be helpful. But most people aren't as detailed as I am, so I won't get my hopes up. But, if you want to impress me, upvote what you like. Yeah, just do whatever Paper Vampire is saying in the live chat if you're watching the replay, because I'm not good at being a YouTuber. What else am I meant to do? If you like it, give it a like. If you're new here, subscribe. Leave a comment and ding the bell. I'll see you next time. Maybe share as well. And give me lots of money. Sign up to my Patreon. Buy my music on Bandcamp. What else am I supposed to say? Send me money through PayPal. My PayPal link is in the description. Teach me to be a good YouTuber. How do I hustle? Oh my God. No. I couldn't do that every time. Although maybe this year will be the year that I finally refine the like and subscribe song, and we'll get on the microphone, we'll record it for real. I might even play guitar for you, chug chug chug, instead of whatever the crap I did previously. Maybe, no promises. I've still got to work on the Taylor Swift cover first, don't I? All right, guys, it's been good. Yeah, if you're turning up late or if you're watching this in the replay and you want to catch us when we're actually having a chat live, 8 o'clock, Wednesday, Sydney time. All the kids are using TikTok to promote themselves. Oh my God, I can't do any more social media. I'm too old for this. I know I seem like I know how social media is, but I'm actually old. I'm in my 30s. I'm too old for TikTok. Like and share, tell your friends, etc. Good night. All right, guys. So I will see you next week, unless things explode. I will schedule it at some point. I think you can set a reminder when you see it pop up. If you see it pop up, I don't follow me. No, I don't do Snapchat publicly. I only do Snapchat for I've got a handful of people who want to hear me doing my crappy vocal things occasionally, but I don't really use Snapchat that much. I'm on Instagram. I don't post much there either. I'm on Facebook, but my public posts, there's not much there either. I'm mainly YouTube these days, for public posts at least. Oh, you guys are really trying to drag this out a bit for me, hey? Oh, anyway, no, I think there's a way to set a reminder for the live stream, but yeah, better to just look up what time it is in Sydney. 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, just in time. No, I'm leaving. You're late. We've been going for almost 2.5 hours. Next time, come 2 hours earlier. Next week. Same time next week, just 2 hours earlier, okay? Come in then. And I'm going to try and do this every week until we get into a good solid pattern, and then we can maybe play with the format a bit. Okay? We got that? We all good? So turn up on a Wednesday, 8 p.m. Sydney time. Send me money and all that and whatever else I was supposed to do to be a good YouTuber. All right, guys, I gotta go. My voice is getting tired. I'm tired. Yeah, you're all good. I was going to do some more editing for that music video, but I think I'll just wait till tomorrow after I've done how many hours of finance. End! All right, end stream. Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. Not yet or end. End. And then there's usually a delay.